Okay, grab your coffee, maybe an energy drink, and pull up a chair. It is super late, and I am desperately cramming for tomorrow's microbiology final. If you're also staring at your textbook, just trying to make sense of fungi and algae, definitely stick around. Let's review my notes together and conquer this explainer so we can both actually pass this thing.
We all know that finals week panic, right? But tonight, we're cutting through all the noise. I've literally highlighted the exact high-yield facts from our lectures that are practically guaranteed to show up on the test tomorrow. Let's organize this chaos into something we can actually memorize.
So here's our study plan for tonight. First, fungi fundamentals. Second, defining core fungal terms. Third, the fungi versus algae debate. And finally, a high-yield summary table. Let's kick things off with Section 1, Fungi Fundamentals.
For the longest time, people, and actually, scratch that, even early taxonomists, just thought fungi were weird plants. I mean, they grow out of the ground, they don't move around, it makes sense, right? But no, they actually belong to their own totally distinct biological kingdom. Evolutionary biology tells us that fungi diverged from other life forms about 1 billion years ago. And here's a massive trivia fact I circled in my notes because it absolutely screams trick multiple choice question. Genetically, fungi are actually more closely related to animals than they are to plants. No way, right?
Okay, let's dive into this list. These 4 bullet points are the absolute core of fungal identity. First up, they're eukaryotic, which just means their cells have true membrane-bound nuclei. Second, they are achlorophyllous. That is a massive, incredibly long vocabulary word, which simply means they completely lack chlorophyll. And because they have no chlorophyll, that leads right into point 3. They are heterotrophic. They can't synthesize their own food via photosynthesis like plants do. Instead, they have to absorb nutrients from their environment, usually by secreting digestive enzymes into dead organic matter. And finally, they're thallophytes, meaning their plant-like body, or thallus, is not differentiated into true roots, stems, or leaves.
Now, what's really interesting here is the unique chemistry happening at the cellular level. When you look at a fungal cell wall, you're not going to find the cellulose that makes up plant walls. Instead, you'll find a highly specific structural molecule called chitin, often combined into a chitin-glucan complex. Specifically, it's a polymer of N-acetylglucosamine. Animals actually use chitin too, like in the exoskeletons of insects and crabs, which kind of ties back to that whole closer to animals thing. Furthermore, when fungi store reserve food, they don't store it as starch like plants do. They invariably accumulate it as glycogen and oil. Remember those 2 words? Chitin and glycogen. I have them triple-starred in my notes for sure.
Moving right along to Section 2, defining core fungal terms.
First up, mycelium. I used to mix this up all the time, but it really helps to remember that while some fungi, like yeasts, are just single cells, the vast majority of fungi grow as tubular, elongated, thread-like structures called hyphae. When these microscopic threads branch out, multiply, and mass together into a huge vegetative web, that entire network is called the mycelium. Think of the hyphae as the individual threads and the mycelium as the whole woven fabric.
Next is pseudoparenchyma. Our professor specifically warned us not to let this trick us on the exam. When you look at a solid mushroom, it really looks like it's made of solid tissue. But the fungal thallus is not formed by the division and differentiation of typical cells. Instead, it's composed of densely packed, interwoven hyphae creating a false tissue, which is literally exactly what pseudoparenchyma means. Therefore, the true structural unit of a fungus is the hypha, not a plant-like differentiating cell.
All right, let's tackle Section 3, the fungi vs. algae debate. The most profound difference between these two lies in their nutritional modes, basically how they eat. Algae are independent powerhouses. They're autotrophic, meaning they possess chlorophyll and synthesize their own organic food using sunlight through photosynthesis. Fungi, as we just discussed, are strictly heterotrophic and achlorophyllous. Because they grow in dark and dim light without any chlorophyll, they have to get their food ready-made. They do this either as saprophytes, where they digest dead organic matter, or as parasites, where they attack a living host. Structurally, it is a completely different story too. Building on that vocabulary we just reviewed, an algal thallus is composed of true parenchyma cells, making the true cell its structural unit. Conversely, the fungal thallus, as we now know, is composed of that false tissue, pseudoparenchyma. So if a test question asks for the structural unit of a fungus, you probably select hyphae.
But hey, it's not all differences.
They actually share some vital characteristics. Both of them totally lack vascular tissues, meaning there is no xylem or phloem to transport water. They both generally prefer moist environments, and both can reproduce asexually through the production of various spores. And this brilliantly illustrates one of nature's greatest partnerships, lichens. In a lichen, fungi and algae form this incredible symbiotic relationship. The autotrophic alga acts as the chef, providing synthesized food, while the structural fungus provides a safe, moist shelter. It is biological teamwork at its absolute finest.
And finally, Section 4, High-Yield Summary Table.
Okay, listen, if you only remember one thing for tomorrow, it's this summary table right here. I am mentally screenshotting this right now. Algae use cellulose. Fungi use chitin. Algae store starch. Fungi store glycogen and oil. Locking this chemical difference in is absolutely going to save us on the multiple choice section.
To wrap up this cram session, I actually stumbled on this completely crazy fact while reading the textbook late last night. While fungi obviously don't use light to photosynthesize, scientists have discovered radiotrophic fungi that actually use the pigment melanin to extract energy from ionizing gamma radiation. It's this mysterious biophysical process that lets them survive in some of the most extreme radioactive environments on Earth. How wild is that? Anyway, good luck on finals tomorrow, everyone. We've totally got this. Stay curious and keep exploring the incredible biological world around you.